Monday morning. A bright orange envelope was taped to my mailbox. Not inside it, on it. Stamped across the front in bold letters, HOA violation notice, $300 fine. I stood there in my driveway staring at the paper like it had just insulted my mother. My mailbox. The same black iron mailbox I'd installed 10 years ago. The same one my daughter painted little blue flowers on when she was 8. Apparently, it didn't match the approved neighborhood aesthetic. The notice said I had 48 hours to replace it with a community-approved mailbox model, or the fine would increase to $100 per day. I remember thinking one simple thing. This wasn't about a mailbox. This was about power. And what the HOA president didn't realize was that the entire neighborhood road ran through land I was about to buy. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we get to that, let me tell you how a $300 mailbox fine turned into the most expensive mistake that HOA ever made. Before I continue, quick question for you. If an HOA fined you over something ridiculous like a mailbox, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm a civil engineer, or technically semi-retired, which means I still take consulting work because sitting still for too long makes me lose my mind. Back in 2011, I bought a small house just outside Asheville, North Carolina. Nothing fancy. 3 bedrooms, half an acre, and a quiet street where everyone mostly minded their own business. At least, that's how it used to be. Because when I moved in, there was no HOA. That changed in 2019. That's when the developer finished building the last 10 houses on the ridge. And with them came the Whitestone Ridge Homeowners Association. And with the HOA came Linda Prescott. Linda was the kind of person who treated neighborhood rules like federal law. Perfect blonde hair, pearl white SUV, clipboard permanently glued to her hand, and a smile that never quite reached her eyes. She became HOA president within 6 months, and suddenly the neighborhood had rules for everything: fence height, grass length, exterior paint colors, driveway materials, even what kind of flowers were allowed in front yards. Most people just paid the dues and stayed quiet, but Linda had a special dislike for one thing: my mailbox. My mailbox sat on a cedar post near the road. Simple, black metal, handmade, and according to Linda, visually inconsistent with neighborhood standards. She left notes, sent emails, filed warnings. I ignored them, because legally, my property predated the HOA by 8 years, which meant I wasn't actually bound by their rules. I explained this politely, twice. Linda didn't like that answer, so she escalated. That's how the $300 violation notice ended up taped to my mailbox that morning. The letter said, replace the mailbox within 48 hours, or face daily fines. It also mentioned something interesting. If fines weren't paid, the HOA could pursue a lien against the property. Now here's the thing about engineers. We don't panic. We investigate. So instead of replacing the mailbox, I opened my laptop and pulled up the county GIS parcel map. That's when I noticed something interesting. The neighborhood entrance road didn't belong to the HOA. The main road leading into Whitestone Ridge crossed 2 parcels. The first belonged to the developer. The second belonged to a retired man in Florida who hadn't visited the property in 15 years. It was a narrow strip of land, about half an acre, but it contained the only vehicle entrance to the entire neighborhood, which meant one thing: if someone owned that parcel, they technically controlled access to the road. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I picked up the phone. The owner's name was Richard Mallory. He answered on the 3rd ring. Nice guy. Said he inherited the land from an uncle and had no idea what to do with it. We talked for 20 minutes. Then I asked a simple question. Would you consider selling it? He laughed and said, son, if you want it, you can have it for $12,000. I bought it that week. Linda Prescott had no idea. 2 weeks later, the HOA sent another notice. The fine had increased to $600, and they threatened legal action. So I did the only reasonable thing. I installed a gate. right where the neighborhood road crossed my new property. Heavy steel, keypad access, completely legal, because it was on my land. The first person to discover the gate was Linda. Her SUV stopped in front of it at 8:12 a.m. She tried the keypad. It didn't open. Then she saw the sign, private property, access restricted, with my attorney's phone number underneath. Within an hour, half the neighborhood was stuck outside the gate, and the sheriff's deputy who arrived explained something very calmly. The gate was legal, the land was mine, and the HOA had no authority there. 2 days later, the HOA board asked for a meeting. I brought my lawyer. Linda looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. I made them a simple offer: withdraw every fine, acknowledge my property wasn't under HOA control, and stop harassing me. In return, I'd open the gate. They signed the agreement that afternoon. The fines disappeared. The mailbox stayed exactly where it was, and the gate, I removed it a week later, because I never wanted to block my neighbors. I only wanted one thing: respect. Linda resigned 3 months later. Apparently running an HOA is harder when the neighborhood knows you're not actually in charge. So that's the story of how a $300 mailbox fine turned into a road ownership problem for an entire HOA. Now I'm curious, have you ever dealt with a crazy HOA rule? Tell me your story in the comments. I read everyone. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe, because the next one might be even crazier. Trust me, some HOAs never learn.